Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jax Keenan, and I am Community Engagement Officer for the Yorkshire Beach Ranges at Cornwall Wildlife Trust. And we are a partner project between Cornwall Wildlife Trust and Cornwall College. We are funded by the National Lottery Community Fund, and we are one of the Our Bright Future projects, which work all over the UK to try and engage young people with nature, particularly in their local area. So we work with young people throughout Cornwall, but we also work with community groups throughout Cornwall to support the local marine groups around our coast to protect their local areas. And one of the main things we're trying to do is connect the local marine groups with the young people that we work with as well. So in just a moment, I'll be handing over to Morwenna Smart. She is our Yorkshire Beach Rangers apprentice. And she'll be going through this basic social media training with you. This training is free primarily for members of the Yorkshire network groups, but also for other community members throughout Cornwall. And it's provided free because of our funding. So thank you very much to Our Bright Future. We do have 2 other training sessions coming up this year, and we'll have more before the end of the project in March. So next week we've got Jodie, who was our last apprentice, and she'll be doing advanced social media engagement, so how to create more engaging posts. And then the week after that, I'll be running a session on how to run online events. So if this hasn't put you off too much, then hopefully you'll come along to that as well. But yeah, they're all free, and you can sign up for them through our Eventbrite or our Facebook. So there you go. If you have any questions as we go along, please add to the chat, and I will hand over to Morwenna now.
Hi, I'm Morwenna, and yeah, as Jack said, I'm the project apprentice. So most of my role at the minute is managing the project social media platform. So I'm the one who is putting loads and loads of emojis and annoying you on Facebook. So yeah, if you could have a look at the Jamboard just quickly. And again, I've seen there's quite a lot of things that you do know, which is awesome. But if we could have a few you didn't as well, it would make my job a bit easier. And then yeah, add questions as you go. So what we're going to cover this evening, we're going to do an overview of platforms, audiences and functions, and we're going to be focusing on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to go through how to post on those 2 platforms, going to have a quick look at scheduling, and then at the end hopefully have a discussion about tailoring content for different platforms and a quick touch on finding a voice for your organisation. And then at the end we're going to have time for questions as well. So let's have a look at the Jamboard. Oh. Wonder why that's blank on mine. Can you still see it, Jax?
I'm just going to have a look. Yep. Oh, no. It's all gone.
That's fine. Luckily, I had some pre-prepared keywords, so we'll just go through those ones for now. And then if there are any that you don't know of, just stick them on the questions page at the end and we'll go through them then. The first one, oh, sorry.
You want me to mention some of the ones that we did have on there?
Yeah, you can do.
So we did have a hashtag. Oh, and somebody's put a hashtag and an @sign. And we had we had influencer. And I can't remember any of the others. But they were both yellow. Okay.
Okay.
So they're both the magic of a shared document, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that happened, but that's fine. So yeah, I'm going to go through a few now. They're ones that will be especially relevant to what I'm going to talk about today. And yeah, any that come up throughout the session that you don't recognise, or any that you think of while we're going through, just stick them on the questions page and then I will get to them at the end. So the first one is tagging. So tagging, you will probably have seen in a post when you put @ and then a username and then it comes up as a link, that's a tag. And you link somebody else's page or name to your post by doing that, which means that somebody who can see who's reading your post can click on it and go directly to the person's page. So it's a really good way of interacting with people, of crediting people with their information and of like being part of an online community. Hashtags is the next one. So hashtags are where you see a hash key and then a word. They're bigger on Twitter and Instagram than Facebook. And that is where you've tagged your post with the hashtag, and then anybody who searches that hashtag can see your post. So it's a really, it means that other people, it means that if somebody searches a hashtag, then they can see all of the posts relevant to that hashtag. And that links in then to trending. So if a lot of people are using one hashtag, it is then trending. So it means that you can see really quickly what's really popular on different social media sites. I don't think we need to worry much about trending. I think we're going to get to that level that's like, TV shows go trending and things like that. So, but that's just so you know what it means. And a link is when you put a web address into a post, and then you can click directly on that web address and go straight to the website. So that's another really handy thing to use. And a link preview is an embedded preview of that post. So it will normally be a little picture from that web page that you've linked in your post. And that makes you look a little bit more professional. It fits in nicely, and it's a good way of using someone's content without, but easily crediting them. And a link shortener is, I had a discussion earlier, I don't think shortener is a word, but that is what they're called. But it kept coming up red. But yeah, so a link shortener is something that literally makes your link shorter. So when you have a really, really long web address, it cuts off a bit of it, makes it nice and small, so that it looks nicer, looks neat on social media. And also for like Twitter, when you have a character limit, it is really handy to make, you can fit lots of content in without it all being taken up by a really long link. We use an external site called Bitly to do that. I'm not going to go too much into that. I'll put a link. I'm going to send out a list of resources and links at the end. Jax is going to send it around to you probably tomorrow at some point. And that'll be on there, so you don't need to worry too much about that. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's see if I can find the tag. We're going to go through the features of a Facebook page. So there's going to be a circle come up like that. And if you guys could put in the chat what you think what that's called. And I'm going to go through them. Oh.
Sorry, can I just ask, is everybody else got the full screen? I've got like a grey square on top of your screen. Has everybody else got the grey square? Yes, okay. So it's blocking out some, yeah, where you're, yes. There, where your mouse is. It's
just, that's fun to open the chat.
Ah.
Weird.
So we can't see the chat. And if you can, it looks like as well for your Zoom, if you can make your Zoom view so it's just your face, because at the moment we've got a grey bar there where you can, you're trying to look at all our faces as well. Thanks.
That's right. Okay, so I can't see the chat now.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll just go through this.
There's no questions at the moment. I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. All right. Sorry, that's strange. Right, so I'll just go through this. So this is called your cover photo at the top of the page. And then this is your profile picture. So that's what on your normal Facebook, that would be your face on your personal Facebook. Obviously for this one, it's our logo. It's good to have it the same across all platforms, just for a nice bit of like uniform so people can see, can definitely check that it's you. And again, yeah, it's nice to have a logo on that one. This is the name of the page here, and that's our username. So the @ bit is the username, and that's what other people tag you with. And then this is the about section. So as you can see, we've got a little blurb about what the Your Sure project is, and our contact details and things down here. So it's really important to keep that updated because that's how people access and contact you through Facebook. And you can also see here that we've got followers and likes in here. And this is called a pinned post. And that means that anybody who comes onto this page, that's the first post they will see. So I usually do this as a newsletter, because the newsletter is a really good way for somebody to see what the project is about without having to scroll through too many posts. So the way that you pin a post is, you see these 3 little dots here. You click on there and it drop down options, and one of the options is to pin the post. So that's a really handy little thing to know about.
Well, just before we move on from there, should we just take a little pause and see if anybody's got questions about that particular part?
Yeah.
Okay, just going to see if I can see your faces. Has anybody got any questions about that in particular?
So pinning the post is you find the 3 dots and you click on that and then it will come up, will it?
Yeah, and then it'll say.
It comes up as an option. I'll go through it. I'll show you what it'll look like in a minute. I'm going to go through it on Facebook itself, so I'll add that to my list to put on Facebook.
Okay, and so Maggie, you've lost the Facebook page. You can only see me. So that might be your view. So in I think it's the top right hand side, it should give you the option of a grid view or a gallery view. So if you go to, I think there's one that says show small active speaker, that should make all of our lovely faces very small in the side. That work for you, Maggie?
Sorry, hi. I've managed to unmute now. So I've got a bar at the bottom. Participants chat, share screen, record reactions. It's not one of those.
No, you should have it on the top where so have you literally just got my big old face all over the screen?
And a chat on the right hand side.
Okay. So
switch to shared content. Switch to shared content?
Yes. Perfect. That's the one.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay. Carry on, Rowena.
Right. Ooh. So now there's 2 different ways that a group like you guys can use Facebook, and that is to have a page or a group. So I'm quickly going to run through the differences between them. Do you guys know that there's a difference between a page and a group? Are we aware of that just before? I can't see your faces, so I don't know.
There's some nods and some shakes.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. So a group is, I'm sure a lot of you will have been added to them. There's like the buying and selling and community groups came up a lot during lockdown. So a group is, a group has to be joined, and it can be private or public depending on your settings, but they're more of a forum or a chat room. And then like for informal communication. So a good way for you guys to use groups is to help organise volunteers. Volunteers can talk to each other, things like that. They're not a public front for your page. They're not public front for your organisation. That's what you use a Facebook page for. So anybody can like or follow a Facebook page. And the most important thing is you can posts can be shared by other people outside of your organisation, and you can tag external organisations or be tagged by external organisations. So it means that you can interact with other people on Facebook outside of your core group. They would be your main place to post events, updates, and campaigns. So yeah, a way for you to communicate with people who aren't your core volunteers. So like a really good way for you to get the word out there. If you were going to have one of these, I would say have a Facebook page, because your volunteers can still interact with that, but it's more public and more professional. I know a lot of marine groups have a group and a page, and have like a core volunteer group, which is one way of doing it. But if you want to talk about it in more depth, you can email me and I'll set up another time. I'm not going to go into it in too much depth. But yes, those are the main ways of using those 2 functions. Oh, I keep forgetting it doesn't do that. There we go. So your audience on Facebook is going to be local people between the age of about 20 and 50. Those are the people who normally use Facebook. It's important to remember that it's not just young people anymore. To be honest, as well, most young people are going to be looking at Instagram and things rather than Facebook. So if anything, you're kind of looking at this age bracket more than anything else. It's also really good for you guys is that it's going to be local people, because of the way that Facebook works. If somebody interacts with one of your posts, their friends will then see it, and that keeps it nice and localized. So you can get, you're not going to get random people looking at it. It's mostly going to be local, which is really good in terms of getting support for you guys. So function of Facebook is for updates and news. More information heavy posts than you would do on other platforms, but that's within reason. You still want to keep your posts nice and short. You don't want to get too in depth with things. It's really useful to have a bit of information and then a link, so you can engage somebody and then pull them in with a bit of information, and then they have an action or a link to follow up. Try and direct them to your own website, usually things like that, events, your own events. But obviously other people's. But yeah, a bit of information in a link is a really good way of setting up a post. And really another good function of Facebook is sharing other people's posts and campaigns. So you can get involved with other people's work, share it really easily, credit them really easily. And I'm going to show you how to share posts when we go on to Facebook. But that's a really important function of a Facebook page. You can put images with your posts, something that I would definitely encourage doing. As we all know, scrolling through social media and things like that, you need something that makes you think, oh, I'll click on that. And that often is a really cool image of a marine animal, of some work you're doing, of some volunteers having fun. So yeah, always use an image with your post. And I'm really briefly going to touch on the difference between liking and following something. It's quite confusing. I got confused trying to work it out, so I'm not going to get into too much depth about it. But if somebody likes your page, they add their name to your page as a fan. And if somebody follows your page, it means that they have chosen to see the content that you post. So when somebody likes your page, they do automatically follow it. And then they can change their follow settings as to how frequently they see the things that you post. But I don't think anybody really bothers going in and changing their follow settings. So I would focus on the likes figure. That's the number you want to be looking at out of those two. But I know that it's something that comes up quite a lot, that people don't necessarily know what it means, which is why I've touched on it. But don't get too bogged down in it. Likes is the one that has the meaning for a page like ours. So yeah, cool. Before we move on to Instagram, are there any Facebook-based questions?
Can see some shaking heads.
Cool. So I'm just going to do the same thing with Instagram that I did with Facebook. I'll just run through what the features of the page are. So that is your username. So this is your personal profile on Instagram. So that's the username. That again is a profile picture. You'll notice we've got the same one as we have on Facebook. That's because sometimes the usernames can't all be the same, depending on whether things have been taken or not, because obviously they have to be individual. So to have the same profile picture across the board means that people can see that it's definitely you. So I would recommend doing that. That's the name of our page. And this is the Instagram equivalent of the About section. So it's called the bio, which I assume is short for biography, but I've never checked. In this, you do, again, it has to be a lot shorter than Facebook, but you're just putting a little bit about you, any main funders, and we've got our Linktree in there, which I'll talk about in a minute. These are story highlights. So when we post Instagram stories, which again, I'm going to go into more depth about to an extent, but we're going to talk about that later. But when you post Instagram stories, if you have a day where you do loads of stories and they're all really good, you can save them onto your profile, so they don't just go into the archive. You can look at them, and it means that when anybody comes to your profile, they see this and they've got lots of content to look at straight away, which is really handy. And also, you know, if you've put loads of work into doing loads of Instagram stories, you want them to stay. So it's a really nice way of setting them out. These are your stats. So your followers, people you're following, and the number of posts. So that's the number of pictures you've put on Instagram. And these little symbols are how you toggle through the bottom. So these two, if you click on one of these two, they allow you to view your posts. This one allows you to view it as a grid, like we are now. And this one allows you to view it as a continuous scroll, like when you're looking at Instagram on your home screen. So just like when you're scrolling through Instagram normally, you can scroll through your own posts like that as well. This one allows you to view your Instagram TV posts. Instagram TV is quite new. It's a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure how it's best utilised for groups like us at the minute, to be honest. I'm not going to go into it in too depth, but I'm going to put a blog which does on the resources sheet. So if you are keen to learn about that, then that's how you do that. This one means you can view posts from other people that you've saved. So that's really handy. And this shows you can view posts that you've been tagged in. So you can keep track of what you've been tagged in and you can interact with those posts like that.
Just before you move on from there, Morwenna, there's a couple of questions. Vicky said that she doesn't have all of those symbols.
Okay, so if you have a different update of Instagram, you may not have, I think it's that one that people don't have, and possibly one of these. But if you don't have them, your Instagram, if you don't have that one, any Instagram TV post you do will show up in your main posts anyway, so that's not a problem. It's probably to do with what phone you're on, or what, it's to do with like versions. So this is the most up-to-date version on iPhone because I took it off my phone. So yeah.
Okay.
Don't panic if you don't have all of them.
And then Pip has asked, can the page owner see if you unfollow them or unfriend them on Facebook?
So the page, so you can't unfriend a page. You're not friends with a page. You like it or follow it, and the people looking at it aren't going to see. They'll see if somebody has unliked it, but they don't see who, I think. And the same with Instagram things. When you have things on business settings, you tend to see the figures and not the individual people. And also, if you're running a business page or a group page, people are going to like it and unlike it. I don't think people are going to I don't need to worry about that too much. It's not the same as unfriending a person. You don't, they're not going to notice, I don't think, so you should be all right.
And just don't worry about it too much. If you need to cut down your social media stuff, don't worry. Yeah. Jodie's just mentioned that there are two different Instagram pages. So there's businesses and personal ones. So it might be that you don't get those symbols unless you have a business Instagram account. And then Pip has just also said, can you please explain the story highlights again, please?
Yeah. So when you create an Instagram story, so I'm getting because they've all got the same names on all of them. When you create an Instagram story, it normally would disappear after 24 or 12 hours. 24, I think. Should have Googled that.
24 as well, but I'm sure Jodie will correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah. And then normally it goes into your personal story archive, but nobody else can see it after that. In this, so what we've done here is so this one, I did a takeover on the Cornwall Wildlife Trust Marine for National Marine Week, and we did loads of really cool stories, and I thought, oh, let's save them because I put loads of work into them, might as well put them somewhere. So you go into the archive. Again, I'm not going to go into too much depth in this. I'll add another thing about how to do it on the document at the end, because I think I could spend an hour doing all of these things. But you basically select the ones that you want and you can group them together and they appear as story highlights. So what I could do now is I could click on that and click through, and it would be all the stories that I've selected that I did on that day. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. What I will also say, and I know that Jade's going to talk a little bit about this next week as well, is that obviously at the moment Morwenna runs the social media for the Yorkshire Beach Rangers as her job. So we understand that a lot of the people, well, most of you here will be looking at how to use social media as either as a volunteer or in a role where you have quite limited time to run the social media. So Jodie next week will be looking at ways that you can make it easier to run social media in quite a limited space of time. You know, we try and post every day, and it would be unrealistic to expect a volunteer to run a social media account and be posting every day. Likewise, the highlights is handy, but it's not necessarily a core part of your social media presence unless you have quite a bit of time to put into it. So
the main reason I've put it on there is that people is that you know what it is, so that you're not looking at profile thinking, what's this big thing that I don't understand. Yeah, it's not something to worry about too much. It's just that if you go on a celebrities thing, they'll have loads of things like that, so you can have a look and see what you think. And if it's something you want to do, then do it. And if it's something you don't, there's not going to be a gap there if you don't have it, so it's not a problem.
Thank you. That's all the questions. Thank you.
So just going to quickly nip through the kind of main functions of Instagram. So Instagram's purpose is image sharing. I think that's something that's really important to remember. The main thing that people see on Instagram, if you post something, is the image. The caption is smaller. If you have a long caption, they have to actively want to read more of it. You really want only good quality and interesting images. But for us, that's really handy because, you know, go rock pulling, you've got loads of really good images. So that's why themed days work really well on Instagram. So I don't know if you guys have seen our Fun Fact Friday posts. So we have a really good image of a marine species and then do a little species profile and some fun facts underneath. Things like that work really well because they're image focused, but provide information underneath. Things like advertising events and things don't always work on Instagram. Not all of your posts are going to work on Instagram. I think that's an important thing to remember. Whereas like with Facebook and Twitter, you can pretty much cross post to both and assume that they're going to be relatively similar and can advertise the same things. That doesn't necessarily apply to Instagram. You can't put links in the photo caption in Instagram. That's really important to remember. You have to use the bio. That's the only place you can put a link on your profile. I'm going to go into how to do this. So you can put just, if all of your events are going to be on your website, just say, have a look at our website in the bio, and then put your website link into your bio by editing that. If you're going to have more than one link that you're referring to, there's a handy site that I'll show you in a minute that you can have a look at. So yeah, really briefly, Instagram TV is longer videos. And because I think you can only post videos up to a minute long on Instagram, so it just means you can do longer videos. So if you had a video commissioned that you'd done that you were sharing on other sites, you could share it on Instagram through Instagram TV. I wouldn't get too bogged down about it. Yeah, it's basically for sharing longer videos. And Instagram stories are 15-second videos or images that appear at the top of the home screen. They're handy for things like, they're handy for doing something live, but you can do it not live, if that makes no sense. Let me reword that. If you were doing an event in the day, you could do Instagram stories throughout the day for different cool things that you were doing. So like if you're rock pooling, you could do a quick video of one thing that you'd seen, like half an hour later do another thing that you'd seen, and then people could click through and see all the individual stories that you'd done. Again, not something to get really bogged down in, but if you're up for it and interested in it, you can do some really cool creative stuff with them. So something to look into if you want to, but not to stress about. I think that's everything on Instagram. Yeah, so tagging on Instagram, you can tag in two places. You can tag on the image like this, and obviously they disappear. They only come up when you want to see them. They don't just, they're not there the whole time. And you can tag in the caption. So as you can see on this post, so I've tagged in the caption in a sentence when it's relevant. so only specific people, and I've tagged everybody else in the picture. When you tag somebody, it means that they can interact with your posts, they can add it to their story, which is really handy. So I just tag everybody who I think is relevant, which I would recommend doing. Don't be embarrassed, just tag everybody. They can ignore it if they want to. But if they repost it, that's a really good bit of engagement, and it means that your circle's wider, you might gain some people following you. So yeah, that's what I tend to do with Instagram. The next one is Linktree. So are there any Instagram questions before I get into Linktree?
Sorry, I'm just trying to see everybody's faces. Nothing in the chat, and no, I think we're good to carry on.
So Linktree is the name of the website that we use to have more than one link in our bio. So it looks like that. That's the link that we get in the end. And when you click on that link, it takes you to a website that looks like this. And all of these are individual links. So how we do it is reference in the post. I think I must have done it in there, that one. Yeah, so have a look at the link in our bio, and you can click there, and then it would come up with the November newsletter, and you click on that. I'm going to put a link to this website. It's free, it's pretty easy to use, it's quite self-explanatory. There's a link for that in the resource sheet. Again, if you have any issues, just email me, and I'm happy to talk things through with people at another time. I know we don't have a huge amount of time today, and there's a lot of stuff. That's the thing with social media, is if you really want to get into it, there's a lot of stuff. If you don't, then you can just do it normally. You don't have to spend your whole life doing it. But if you did want to, then there's plenty to do. So you move on to Twitter quickly. And again, I'm just before, sorry, just before you move on, Madeline's just said, it's good to mention that if you tag them in the picture and they later change their username, it still works. But if you tag them in the caption and they change their name, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's another good thing. I don't know how many people change their usernames that often, but
I don't know.
Good to know. So again, I mean, they're all, once you kind of realize the layout, they're all pretty much the same. They just use different words for things because they like to feel individual. So that's your profile picture, that's your cover photo, that's your name and your username. Those are your little stats, so that's how many followers you have. And a follow is the same as a like. So a follow on Twitter is the same as a like on Facebook, because they want to confuse you as much as they possibly can. And that is the Twitter equivalent of a bio. So again, you can see we've got Cornwall Life Trust and Cornwall College, and a little blurb about us and our hashtag, and then we've got our website in there as well. Ooh. And you can also, I mean, I've cut it off, which I should not have done, but you can pin a tweet in the same way that you can pin a Facebook post. So again, on our Twitter, it's the newsletter, just because that's a good way of people getting to know us as a project. So on Twitter, posts are tweets and sharing is retweeting. And it's always really good to retweet with a comment. And that's really important. You want to make sure that when you retweet something, you engage with it. It makes you look better. It means that you're engaging in the Twitter community. People are more likely to like it and engage with that. If you've just retweeted what somebody else has posted, people aren't really they're just gonna scroll past it. Because you have the 280 character limit, you really want to keep as concise as you possibly can on Twitter. So really we're looking at, you know, a little update and a link rather than a really long post. To help with that is the link shorteners that we talked about earlier. And if you add an image, you can tag somebody in the image rather than in the text of the post. And that again saves on characters and is really handy. that's it on Twitter. If there's no questions, then I'm gonna go into like actual Facebook and go through how to do it. Is there any questions, Jax?
I can't see any in the chat. Just one. Justin asked if the Linktree was just for use with Instagram, but you can use it with anything, can't you? It's just a way to share a multiple links.
Yeah, it just gives you a link, and then it's up to you what you do with that link. So the bit that like Linktree /beach ranges is ours, and we can put that anywhere. It's just especially useful for Instagram.
Cool, thank you.
So the first thing I'm gonna go through is Facebook. Right, so what I'm gonna do is show you how, got loads of things popping up. Right, I need to get rid of you guys again, don't I? There we go. Can you see the whole screen now, just to check?
Yeah, perfect.
So the first thing I'm going to quickly talk about is how to interact with your own page. So when you sign in to manage your page, you automatically are interacting as your page. So if you see down here, it says comment as Yorkshire Network Training. So this is the page that I've made up for this particular event. It's not real, so whatever I do isn't going to have any issues. So if I comment now, it comes up as the page. So here, there is all of the pages that I can get on, that I manage, and I'm going to click on my personal one. And then that means that if I write a comment now, I'm me. So that's a really common mistake that people make is interacting as their page when they meant to be them, or interacting as them when they meant to be their page. As a general rule, if you're commenting and what you're commenting is personal, then you want to comment as your personal page. If you're commenting on behalf of the group, so if you're replying to somebody who's asked a question, then you want to do it as the group. It's once you kind of get your head around it, it's really easy to think about, but is common mistake that people make is to comment as the page when they meant them and things like that. So you want to be careful with that one. And then the next other thing we're going to go before we go into posting is how to share a post onto a page. So I'm just going to search here for the Yorkshire Beach Rangers, and I'm going to share one of our posts onto this other page that I've created. So you can see now, just like a normal Facebook post, just as you would on your personal account, you can click share here, and I'm going to share it to a page like that. I'm going to click on the page that I want it to go on, and I would type something here, say something like, have a look at this. And you can add emojis here if you want to on that little smiley face, and then click share. Not now. And if I go back then to this page, you can see it's come up. So this is my text, and then embedded in that is the page. So we can then follow a link straight from the Yorkshire Beach Rangers post, but we've seen it on our page. So that's a really good way of sharing other people's content. If somebody shares a campaign that you really like the look of, you can just share their post. Again, always comment on it, always interact with it before you share it, but that's a really handy thing to do. So the thing with Facebook at the minute, we're going to go into posting now.
Just before we move on, sorry, Morwenna, before we get before we get to new Facebook, Catherine's just asked, how do you toggle between posting as yourself and as your page on your phone?
I would recommend using your using a computer to manage your page, not your phone. I know it's a bit of a pain, but it is designed to do that. I don't use Facebook on my, like if I don't use Facebook for work on my phone because it's my personal phone, so I don't actually know, but I'm sure Jodie will know. Jodie,
Yeah, Jodie.
answer a question for me.
I'm going to be honest, I've never been able to do it on my work phone.
I think the thing with Facebook is it is designed to, it's designed with managing pages, it's designed for your laptop. I know there's a Facebook Business Suite app, so I would maybe suggest that you interact just through that and interact personally through the Facebook app and interact through your business or your organization with the Facebook Business app. Is the best way that I would suggest doing. Oh yeah, Jodie says, I don't think you can do it. So yeah, I would get the Facebook Business app and see if that helps. And if not, I'll investigate and I'll try and put something on the resources sheet. Sorry.
I think it's a question that's come up before with some of the groups and there wasn't a way to do it on.
I think it's safer to just be on your, it's safer to be on your laptop with Facebook.
It's just, I guess, when you're on the go.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So I'm just writing that down so I remember to have a look. So yeah, so the thing with Facebook at the minute is they are halfway through an update of how you manage a organization or business page. So that means there's a new thing that everybody is, that I think everybody is going to have to use eventually, which is Facebook Business Suite. And then there's the other way of doing it. I'm pretty sure that you guys will probably be on half and half at the minute. So some of you will be using Business Suite and some of you will be using the old way. So this here says you can switch back for 48 hours. So I'm going to go onto Business Suite, show you how to do that, and then switch back to old Facebook, show you how to do that. Hopefully it won't get too confusing. I'm sorry if it does. There's also quite a few glitches with Facebook Business Suite. So I'm going to tell you what it's supposed to look like because it's not necessarily going to look like that on my screen. I'm very sorry. This has come at like not a good time for Facebook. They are in the middle of lots of changes, I think. So yeah, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm sorry if it gets confusing, just shout and I'll go back over stuff. So the first thing I would say is always have your posts written out in a Word document. So this is what I've done here. So this one is the Facebook post. I've made it up. There's not a rock crawling event, I'm very sad. So as you can see here, I've put a link in it and I've got the hashtags in it and everything. So we're ready to go. So I'm going to copy and paste that. I'm going to go create post and pop it in here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through and add spaces, make sure it's nice and easy to read, because that's really important. And yeah, that'll do. And then I'm going to add some emojis. So again, the way that you do that is this little smiley face here. Click on that and there's loads of different options you can see. Unsurprisingly, my most used ones are whales and crabs. So there's some nice emojis at the beginning. This is how we set our post out on the Usual Beach Rangers pages. So that's why I've done like this. You don't need to do a capital headline. That's just what we kind of choose to do to make it a bit more engaging with our particular voice. There we are. And another thing that I like to do is put an emoji before the link, just so that we know that it's there. So the link has come up, when I pasted the link in here, it's also come up here. So that means that it's going to be previewed on the post at the minute. If you don't want that, you can just get rid of it. Also, it's worth mentioning that probably for you guys, there'll be a preview pane here where you can see what your post is actually going to look like. Facebook doesn't want me to see what the post is going to look like, so we're just going to have to go with it. So I put the hashtags in here. You see they come up blue. That means that they're functioning as hashtags. I've credited me because I'm going to use one of my photos, but I've just put that in there so that you remember that you always have to credit the photographer. You always have to have permission to use the photos that you use, and that's really important. So the next thing we're going to do is tagging. So I want to tag the beach rangers in here. So we're going on a survey with the Yorkshire Beach Rangers. So I type the @ key and I'm going to start typing the name. And and it's worked. That's exciting. So we should, all day I've been practicing this and this hasn't come up. So this is I'm very pleased about this. So if you see it comes up as a drop down menu here and I can click on us and we're there. And I'm going to do the same thing down the bottom. I'm going to tag Shore Search because it's about rock crawling. There we go. And I'm going to tag Cornwall. Again, I'm just typing the name and they should appear in this drop down menu and then you just click on them. And I'm going to add a photo. So click on add photo, it takes you into documents and I'm going to click on this one. And again, if you had the preview pane, you'd be able to see that it would be there, but I don't have that. So that's my photo in there. You can put a location in if you want to. So I could put Trebrain Bay in here because that's where my made up event is going to be. I wouldn't suggest adding a feeling or activity. I think on your personal Facebook, that's fine. But on a business Facebook, doesn't look the most professional. So I just leave that be. We can publish it straight away just by clicking that. So that means it just appears straight away on your page and it's done. The other thing we can do is schedule it. So I clicked on that little arrow down here and then schedule, and then you can select when you want it to appear. So I click that little calendar there and you can choose what day you want it to come up. I click it on tomorrow and what time, and click schedule and click schedule post again. And then it comes up on a specified time that you want it to come up. That's really handy if, like you guys, you've got limited time, you can change it. So you can do all of your posts for 1 week in a day or in an evening and change the time that they all come out. So they all come out one at a time. Just means you can manage your time differently. So yeah, that's what the preview would have looked like, but it didn't decide to do that. So I'm going to publish now, just so we can go back into the post, go back into the page and just look at what it's going to look like. So if I refresh this, there it is. So is there anything that anybody wants to see again on Business Suite before I swap to old Facebook? Because
I'm just going to add in a couple of things, if that's okay. Firstly, that you may have noticed that Morwenna, she copied the text that she had for the post from a Word document. The reason that we do that is it's very easy to write a post on Facebook and click slightly off the post that you're writing and it disappears and you've lost it. So it's a really good habit to get into, to be drafting all the text that you're going to do, that you're going to include in the Word document beforehand and then paste it into a post rather than writing it directly onto the post and then you can just copy it over. Second is that the best way to switch between your profile, personal and business or like project profiles is don't use the Facebook app on your phone. If you go into Facebook on a browser, then on your phone, then you can switch between profiles, but you can't do that on the Facebook app. So that's a way to avoid that. Also, yes, too many admins can be an issue. We've all had that on projects that we've worked on. So yeah, that can be a tricky one. Madeline's asked, what is the link preview, please?
So the link preview is, see, it's really hard for me to show you because Facebook doesn't work. If I go back in and create a post, again, and I will, where's my Word document? I'll just do it really quickly and just stick it in there. So then you see here it says link preview, and I've just put a link to the Beach Rangers website, and I'll just publish it, and then I can show you what it looks like, because it's not going to show me the preview apparently. This is what I mean when I say new Facebook's been quite glitchy. I wouldn't worry about the thing that's really hard with social media is that sometimes things just don't work, and sometimes it's not always you. But yes, this is what a link preview would look like in a post. So you see there's the link, but I can also access it through this preview. Normally there'd be a picture there. I don't know, it's not. If I click on that, it takes me straight to the Beach Rangers website.
So essentially it just brings up a kind of a bigger link in the post itself, but if you're using a picture, you don't necessarily really need that. I'm not sure.
Well, using a picture, you can't have it.
Okay.
It replaces it. It's handy if you're like sharing a news article and you don't necessarily have a picture to go with it. It means that the cover picture of the news article will come up in your post, so you keep that engagement of having something to look at, but you don't just have a random image. It stays relevant. So that's when they're really handy.
Cool. Sorry, Jocelyn. I know Jocelyn. Her computer crashed. This is being recorded as well, and we'll put it on YouTube. So anything, I'm not sure when you missed it from. So rather than going back over it, we'll put it on YouTube, and you should be able to access it then. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. We'd like to move on.
So I'm going to switch to, theoretically, we're going to switch to old Facebook. Oh. Okay, cool. So this is what it will look like for some of you. It may not look like this for long if they're still rolling out their updates, but I just thought it's worth going over it. So to get to creating a post in old Facebook, as we're calling it, you go into More and Publishing Tools here. And it takes forever to load. And you can click Create Post up here. And it looks like this. So you do the same thing, paste your post in. Oh, so this one's got an image. And spread it out. Oh yeah, so you can't see the whole post until you want to add an emoji, and then it lets you. Don't know why. Just a nice little Facebook glitch for you. So I'm going to keep spreading this out again. Same as before. Pop some emojis in. So it's the same symbol, same format, same style. So it shouldn't be too complicated with the switch over. And what I'll do is I'll just do the preview for you here. So again, with the tagging, exactly the same thing. We're going to type an @ start typing the name. And we're there. So I click on that one. I'll just get rid of that for the minute. And so this is what a link preview, so you can see it's got option for images here. So I can select that this image comes up and I can get rid of that one. So that's what the link preview, a normal link preview would look like with an image in it. So I can either share now, or you can go in here and schedule it. And again, just select the time and date that you want and schedule. I'll put it back to share now for a minute. This is really similar to how you would post on your own Facebook page, so I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but you can add photos and videos there. You can check into locations into particular places here. Again, put a feeling in if you want to. And I'll click share now. And then if I go back into Facebook and, oh, hang on, that's the group, isn't it? Hang on. Too many things called the same thing. There we go, that one. Then it should, when it fancies it, appear here. So you can see that's what our link preview is supposed to look like. Cool, so that's posting on Facebook. Is everyone good with that if we move on to something else? Just conscious of time now.
Vicky's just asking if we use the same hashtags on Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, hashtags are more important on Instagram and Twitter, I would say. The main reason to use a hashtag on Facebook would be so that you can find your own posts, and that's what we use them mostly for. And they look nice, you know, to have a hashtag Fun Fact Friday and things like that. You can use the same thing across the board. It's handy, like we have a hashtag Beach Rangers that is used across the board, and we use Engage, Inspire, Protect as our little like hashtag tagline, which we use across the board. So I think it's better, in general, it's better to use the same thing across lots of the platforms, as it keeps up continuity and stops admins getting confused as well. But yeah, it's not essential.
Thank you. And Pips asked, are you going to talk about privacy settings?
I'm not. I'm assuming that your Facebook page is already set up on this course. If you need help with privacy settings, I can put a link to a blog about it, or I can chat to you another time. We've kind of taken this course assuming that you already have a Facebook page and you're adminning it rather than setting one up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Pip, is this for the Perranporth group Facebook page, or is this something else that you're working on? You can unmute yourself if you like.
No, just sort of generally trying to train myself to learn about Facebook and understand how it works, and to know how to keep your personal one private, I suppose.
Yeah, it's so something that I've done to try and keep work and personal life separate and not always have work notifications coming up when I'm not working is that I have a Beach Rangers Facebook account and I have a personal Facebook account. So when I'm not working, I don't log into my Facebook one. So if you've got one that's connected to a group that you're managing, it might be handy to do that. And then you can you can decide what you share on each one of those. But that's, I know, quite a
that's good.
A big way to do it, but it's definitely worked for me. And yeah, like Morwenna said, if you want to send her a message, I'll send an email out tomorrow and copy Morwenna in with her extra links and stuff, and you can always email her back with any additional questions. And Catherine says, I've always just posted directly on the page. Is it better to go via the Facebook business page?
It's better to go through the business page generally, because then you are doubly sure that you're posting as the business, not as you. And also you have loads of, it's easier to see things, it's easier to use, it's designed to do that, and you have the different options of scheduling things. It's also more secure to go directly into Facebook business rather than going through your own personal one. So yeah, I would say it's better to get familiar with using Business Suite, because that is going to be the way that things are going to go. It also means you can see a list of all your posts if you want to. You can see what's coming up and what's not. You know, I think it's a better way of doing it, so you can get yourself used to the layout.
And it does seem like there's a possibility that for anybody who has a page that it might not be a choice at some point. Does that seem to be how it's going?
I think it's definitely good to to crack on with Business Suite now, because it seems to be the way that things are going. I would say they've clearly put a lot of effort in trying to transfer people over.
Okay.
And also it is good, like once they've got rid of all the glitches, it will be really good and easy to use. It's just frustrating at the minute. I don't know if you could tell, but we've been having a great time.
Yeah, we have a new Facebook rant at least once a day.
Mm.
And Catherine just asked, how do you get onto the Facebook business page?
So you can go from your page. I can't do it now because I've switched back into Facebook. But you can go into publishing tools and it will say try Business Suite and you can click in there. The other, oh no, I can do it, hang on. Yeah, so publishing tools and try Business Suite. It comes up here. You can just Google Facebook Business Suite and log into it directly. I mean, to be honest, if you're logged in on your computer, it would log you in anyway, and then it takes you straight to this screen. So I'd recommend doing that in terms of security, but if you want to go through your Facebook page to start with, to get the hang of it, then do that. Yeah.
Also worth noting there on that screen that you're sharing, if you haven't done scheduling posts before, they don't automatically come up. You have to click on scheduled posts. So don't worry if you've like scheduled 5 posts and then they disappear. I have a regular panic about that. You just have to select specifically to see the ones that haven't been posted yet.
Yeah, so these are the ones that are published. And then if I click in scheduled, there won't be any, but that's where they would be.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. So I'm going to go on to Twitter now. So this is what the homepage of Twitter looks like. And we're going to just do the same thing, go through the same thing as Facebook. The first thing I'm going to talk about quickly is liking and retweeting. So I'm just going to like Emily's post because we like Emily. And that's what we do. Click the little heart, and to retweet something, you click this little symbol here, and then it comes up here. And again, always comment. So I can put amazing work and then tag her if I want to. There we go. And then down here, can add an emoji if I want to. We always want to. And then click retweet here. I'm not going to do it because I haven't actually read what that is. Might be irrelevant. But click retweet here and then it appears just like a Facebook share would. So that's really easy. Discard that. And then we're going to go into how to tweet. So again, I've got it in a Word document here. I've made sure it's 280 characters just because you don't need to sit through me faffing around trying to cut words out of a Twitter post. But it does give you warning. I'll show you how it shows you that you've gone over in a second. So we click tweet here and a nice little box comes up, paste it in. And again, I'll spread it out a little bit. But the thing with Twitter to remember is that everything counts as a character. So if you press enter, it counts as a character. If you press space, it counts as a character. So that's important to remember. If you do need to cut down things, if you're like one off, one over the limit, you can. If you're one over the limit, maybe. Why are you doing that? There we go. No? Okay. I'll just leave that there. That doesn't need to change. If you're one over, then deleting a break like that, a line break, is one way of cutting down. This little circle down here shows you how many characters you have left. So if I just keep going for a minute and I'll start tagging people. So again, the same way of tagging, press @ and then start typing. Eventually you run out of, yes, then look, we have 12 left and it'll keep counting down and then it'll go into the red. And that's how you know that you've gone over the limit. Once you go into the red, you can add another tweet. This means that they appear in a thread linked together. That is handy if you have loads of information, but if you have loads of information, a tweet's maybe not the best place to put it. So I would aim to put everything in one tweet where you can, just because it looks nicer. and it's easier to kind of deal with. So I'm going to get rid, so this is the link preview on Twitter. It automatically embeds it. I'm going to get rid of it, so I don't need it. So that's how you tag somebody in the actual text. And you can see that I've put hashtags in the text on Twitter. That's just because they're more important. Trending is a bigger thing on Twitter. People search using hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, which they don't necessarily on Facebook. So I think just putting them in the text is a really good way of doing it. You can add an image, this little image down here. Stick that one in again. And as I mentioned earlier, another way of saving space on Twitter is to tag people in the image. That's here, tag, and again, just search people and they appear. Done. There we go. So to post that then, I would just press tweet there and that goes out immediately. What I'm going to do is, and this is just a weird thing that with Twitter, you can't schedule a post with tags in the photo. So if you can't work out why you can't schedule a post, that's probably why. So I've deleted the tags in the picture. So now we've just got the tags in here. And then I'm going to click this little calendar down here. And just like Facebook, I can choose when I want it to go out and confirm. And then we click schedule down here. Again, I'm not going to do that because this doesn't make any sense and doesn't exist, but that's how you do it. So you click that there and then it would go through. And the way that you would then find that again is you go into, you go into tweets and, oh, it's not there. Normally, there's a thing here that says unsent tweets.
I don't think we have any unsent tweets is the issue.
That might be why. Okay, so normally there's a thing here that says unsent tweets. You click on that and then you can view your draft and your scheduled tweets. Yeah. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, so Vicky, just I think going back to Facebook, asked what's the invite someone who's liked your post. So I know that when somebody likes your post on Facebook, you have the option to then you can invite them to like your page. So basically it's somebody who hasn't already liked your page. You can invite them to like your page so then they see everything else that you do. I don't know what your thoughts are on doing that, Morwenna?
I do it every now and again. I think that if it was done to me, I would maybe be like, oh, don't know if I like that personally. I think if somebody's going to like your page, they probably, I don't know if that would give them the nudge, but it's definitely a good thing to do because it just reminds people. And if there's somebody that you know should like it, then you can do it. So somebody who maybe has been featured in content on your page and they've liked something, you can then remind them to like your page by using that feature. We don't personally use it a lot on the Your Sure thing, just because I don't know, it could be viewed as a bit invasive. I think is something to bear in mind, not to go overboard on it.
Yeah, it can be nice. Like if you, so Catherine's also asked, how do they like the post how do they like your post if they haven't liked your page already? I think that's what you're asking. And it's if somebody they know has liked it, then is that how they see it? Or if they've shared your post and that's how they see it? Well,
yes, if somebody that they know has interacted with your post, then it might appear on their page. If they are searching for a particular event or something and it's come up, they might have seen it and liked. Anybody can like a post, it's just where they've seen it is what is the variable. So if your post is public, anybody can like it. It's just unlikely that everybody in the world is going to see it. So that's where, does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
That algorithmically you'll get shown stuff that that is linked to people that you know already. Okay.
Yeah.
And Dodie's given you instructions to go to more and then Media Studio, and then you can click on scheduled tweets.
Oh, okay.
Also, I've just done a little scheduled tweet, so it should come up when you see what happens.
No, oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, unsent tweets and scheduled post. Cool. Yeah, so that's the best way of going into them. It was doing it this morning when there wasn't any scheduled, so I don't know. But I mean, this is just proof that social media sometimes does funny things, so don't get too happy about it. If it's not always you, it's probably sometimes social media as well.
And if you're ever really, really stuck and you want to chat, then obviously we're happy to help in any way you can. We're not social media experts, so there will be things that we couldn't answer. But yeah, we're happy to sort of help any.
Yeah, and often there's I mean, I've put links to a few on like how to use Instagram TV and things like that. There's always really good blogs online about things that you can find really easily. So Googling it it's genuinely a good idea. I would say if you're not sure, Google it. Somebody will have written a nice, pretty blog about it.
Yes. So we're on 8:20, Morwenna,
Yeah.
let you know.
No, I'm aware. I'm going to whiz through Instagram and then we'll go straight to questions, I think, because I think the other things we were going to chat about, hopefully Jodie's going to cover in her session next week. So Instagram. So I'm going to do a weird thing now, because Instagram, you can't post from your laptop. You have to post from a phone if you want to post directly through the Instagram app. I would suggest doing it from your phone if you have the images on your phone, but I am aware that we don't always, and emailing things to yourself is a faff. I'm going to show you this quickly. If you want me to go through it in more depth, I can put some instructions on how to do it on the thing, because I mean, we could spend ages on this, so I'm not going to go into it in more depth. But I'm on Google Chrome. I would recommend doing this on Google Chrome. These 3 dots up here, you can see that. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to go into more tools, and I'm going to go into developer tools, and it looks like this. And basically what I'm doing is I'm tricking Instagram to think that I'm on a phone. So what I have to do now, weirdly, is you have to log out and log back in.
Are you able to do that just one more time for us, Morwenna?
Yeah. So I'm going up here, top right hand corner, 3 dots, more tools, developer tools. And then you've got to log out and log back in again. And now it should look exactly how it looks on a phone. So there we go. So you see I've got the symbols down here. So if I want to add to my story now, I click into story up here and add an image. I can add a video. If you're on your phone, you can film live. And I can add text if I want to, change the colors, move things around. You can put stickers in. I can add a location. Ooh, I can't add a location because I can't find it. There's loads of things you can do. You can get really creative with stories, but this is basically how you do it. And then you click add down the bottom, and that's how you would do it. So then it appears along the top here, and that's how you do that. Again, if you want to know more about that, I'll go into it in more depth another time with you, just aware that we're running out of time. So to post on Instagram, you click the plus button down here and select your image, and you can put a filter in if you'd like to, and then you click next and write your caption in here. So we'll go back into here. I've got it saved. So I'm going to show you it on here just so you can see it spaced out. So again, I've made it nice and spaced out, but with Instagram, you have to go back in and space it out again. It changes your formatting just like all of them. I've put a load of hashtags down the bottom here. That's because on Instagram, again, just like Twitter, you can search using hashtags. So it's much more valuable to have more hashtags, but to separate them from your post so they don't distract from the main post and that people can ignore them if they want to. So that's why I've set it out like that. Look at the Cornwall Wildlife Trust on Instagram if you want to see how to do this really effectively. That's where I nicked it from. They're really good at doing that. So that's how we do that. And then if we want to tag somebody, go in here.
Can I just really quickly say that the reason that when that's separating out the full stops are there is because when you can't enter on Instagram, like if you use return, then it just squashes them all back together. You have to return and then put a full stop in and return and a full stop, which is something that took me far too long to learn.
So yeah, to tag somebody in the photo, I've clicked tag people, and you can click anywhere in the photo. And just like Twitter, a search bar comes out and I can search and tag the beach rangers. You can tag, I think it's 30 people. So you just keep tagging for however long you want to. Really, I would say just tag relevant people, people who you think might want to see your post. If you're on your phone, you can add a location. And I'll just show you how to tag somebody in here as well. So I'll just go down to the bottom for the sake of it, and we'll do @ and again start typing and it comes up on the drop down. So they're pretty much the same. Once you get the hang of one, it's pretty transferable. So I'm just going to click share. And there it is. So do you see what I mean about how the image is the main thing? So the image is the main thing, and then we have to click more to see the rest of the post. So it's really important that your image is interesting and arresting and going to make people stop scrolling, because that is the main thing that people go to Instagram to see. It's the function of the platform. So you don't want to get too carried away with the caption. The photo is the most important thing on Instagram. Cool, I think that's Instagram done.
Thank you. Pip's just asked if there's any etiquette on tagging, or do you just go for it?
I mean, personally, I just kind of go for it. I would tag, if you're tagging an organisation, it's polite to make sure they're relevant. So like the St Ives Bay meeting that we had the other day, I tagged, I think the St Ives Bay tourist information. I tagged the surf school because I knew they were interested in the meeting anyway. And then I tagged marine groups. I tagged 3 bays, I think, and groups that are active on Instagram that I know might want to share it with their followers. You don't just want to tag random people, because if you tag somebody, you are associating yourself with them. So it's worth being aware. You want to know that their profile is real and relevant. I think personally, because if it's a business page, if you're tagged all the time, you can just ignore things. Whereas if you, I think just go for it personally. But that might just be me.
Go for it, but relevant.
Yeah,
go for it.
Stick relevant. You only want to do people that will genuinely be interested in what you are posting.
Catherine asks, do you suggest that we tag twice, once in the photo and again in the text?
No. So as I said earlier, let me see if I can find the slide again. Let's go back to here. So where's my here? So I would only tag people that are in the context in the post. So because I just think it looks better. Personally, it's an aesthetics thing. There's not worth tagging somebody twice, I don't think. But yeah, it's up to you really what you want to do. But I think personally, I tag people in the context of the sentence that I'm saying. And maybe I'd tag like the main person. So if the tweet was about Our Bright Future, I would make sure to have them in it. Even if I hadn't tagged them in the exact text, I tag them in the caption. But I tend to then tag everybody else in the photo.
Excellent. So we've got 2 minutes left. Is it time for questions?
Yes, time for questions.
So we've had questions all the way through. But yeah, if there's, do you want to stop sharing your screen, Morwenna? So if there's, are there any other questions? Got a little bit of time. And if not,
board, so that's good.
yes. So as Morwenna said, she's put together a document of useful information and useful links, useful tags, hashtags to use, and I'll send those out tomorrow. I'll copy Morwenna in, and if you do think of a question, then you can send that directly to her. As I say, next week we've got a lovely session from Jodie, which is about making engaging posts. So a bit more about scheduling and how to schedule relevant to your audience and when's the best time for you to schedule, and looking about, okay, how do you actually make, say, the first line of that Instagram post really interesting that people want to click on more? So how do you make something engaging? So yeah, there's still some spaces on there, but not many. We're nearly fully booked, Jodie, no pressure. If you are interested in going a bit more in depth with the actual content, then that is for you. And then online events is on the 30th of November, and that is with me. Yeah, thank you all so much for coming this evening, and I hope it was helpful, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers.